Sairam, Sairam, everyone. Welcome everyone to just another version of my Sai and I. We have three YAs here today with us. Vaibhav, Samiksha, Sairam, everyone. We have Prashant as well. So all three of us. I would start with Samiksha here. Um, Samiksha, if you want to introduce yourself, kind of give a background about yourself, and we want to listen about your experiences with Swami and how you got really connected with Swami. Saira.
Thanks so much, Prasanna. Anna. So, as you mentioned, I'm Samiksha. Um, I've I'm currently a rising junior at in college right now at USC. But I've gone through, the whole 12 plus years of uh SSC, and I've been in Swami's fold since I think I was born pretty much because my mom she took me like my whole life to center and all. So yeah, that's just a little bit about my spiritual journey. Now I'm in college. It's I'm like navigating my way with like the teachings that I've learned in SSC, and it's definitely a journey. I understand now like what Swami's talking about in terms of like, balancing, your secular life versus your spiritual life, and making sure like both are like tied in seamlessly. And so it's definitely a challenge, and I'm like starting to see that every day in my life now, especially being in college and going through like more of like from like the teenagers to like early 20s. It's definitely something else, a new experience for me. But yeah, I would love to talk more about, I'm excited to talk more about like my experiences and like how I view Swami's message and such today. I'm really excited to be here. Thank you.
Saira,
Bye.
thank you. Thanks for that intro, Samiksha. That was nice. So looks like you probably started much early because of your parents being there. Probably is your parents the first generation to hit Swami, or how does it how
No. So my
okay.
my grandma, my maternal grandma, she actually started going to Swami when I believe like she had already gotten married and moved to Mumbai. And so I think that was like around her like 30s she started going. And then like my mom, she started going when she was like 3 years old. So it's like I think I'm the third generation to go.
Okay,
But
good, good. Okay, so pretty much kind of in there already in the Sai fold since your birth, probably, right? I mean, just
yeah, I feel very blessed and lucky and honored to do so, because not many people, get that opportunity and chance. So I really would like to thank Swami for that opportunity.
great, great. Um, so, I mean, we would like to give the entire floor to you now. I mean, just go and hit your hit your journeys with Swami. How has Swami come to your life? I know he probably came all the way starting your birth, and you probably got into directly into Swami's fold since then. But that there will be something that kind of touched you, or something that kind of inspired you to start following through that journey. I know a lot of SSC, when they put in a SSC initially, kids go because the parent asks them to go to SSC, right? Not necessarily they probably like the program versus going to the program, but over a period of time, that transformation really happens, and that's that kind of sense that Swami into their life, right? That's how Swami enters a person's life, kind of getting into the transformation mode and all that. So we would like to hear from you on how that really happened.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, at first you go because your parents are telling you to go every Sunday, like go to SSC, sing bhajans and all that, right? So that's definitely true for me as well, not any different. But I think like when I first really started believing in Swami, and like I think on some level when I was younger in like elementary school, I had known that, Swami is a real present has a real presence in my life. Like I pray to him and all that stuff when I was younger. But I think like there's one like really defining moment that I feel like really enforced my belief in Swami as a young kid for that maturity level. I don't think it was like a small stepping stone into believing, but this experience, it was actually, I don't remember where I had gone that day or anything like that. I think I was like maybe 7 or 8 years old at the time, but I had come back from some event or something like that, and on like a weekend, and I was like jumping on my, like, I was like, it was a nighttime. I was like really hyper. I was jumping on my mom's bed at 8 years old, as like many 8-year-olds do. And then like right when I was jumping, I saw like this like being in an orange robe with poofy hair when I was like jumping up and down, crawling like below the bed. And I was like, I got so scared. I like ran out of there, ran to my mom. I was like, because as an 8-year-old, like, how are you going to process what that is, right? You're like that's like, you're like, what is going on? Like, is that Swami? Because like, how is that real? Like, even now, if I see that, I'm gonna like be freaked out, you know?
Sure.
But yeah, so like as an 8-year-old, I think that was the first time I actually processed that like Swami was like real, you know, and he's like there. It's just that like I'd never actually seen that. Maybe he came in that form for me at that age to like help me realize that like, okay, this is something I actually have to take seriously, right? And I think like from then on as well, like I had, you know, started like praying to Swami. I don't think like I had actually processed like, you know, how to take his like teachings in my daily life or anything like that. I think like, you know, my mom did a very good job in like enforcing like the values that I had to grow up with, you know, like don't be mean to others, you know, don't like make fun of others, like be truthful and all those things, right?
Mhm.
And so I think that she obviously gets that from like Swami's teachings, and like she instilled that in me. And then like that experience like helped me like actually like, you know, pray to Swami like whenever like I was in need. And like that like basic level of like belief in Swami like started from then when I was like around 8 years old. And then when I got into, so I think like carried on into like middle school, and like when I got to high school, I think like there was one speaker at a retreat. I believe it was in, I want to say 2018 at the Region 10 retreat. And I don't remember who the speaker was, but there was something that he said, because as a 10th grader, like I'm gonna be honest, I didn't really pay attention to like most of what the speaker was saying. Like I was just sitting there because my mom told me to go into the hallway and sit there and listen, but I wasn't really listening. But I think like the one thing that stood out to me was one line that the speaker said, and it was saying like, he was saying like, you know, when we have dal, like the dal is like the majority of the food, and then you put like a little bit of salt in, right? And so a lot of us view our secular life as the dal, and then like our spiritual life as the salt, where we just like dabble it in sometimes, you know, go to center on Sundays and like sing bhajans and come back and then go back to living our secular lives, right? And then he said that's, it's actually the other way around, where the dal is your spiritual life and then the salt is your secular life. So your secular life is like only a part of your spiritual journey to Swami. It's not like what you are and like how. So I'm sorry, I don't mean to like stumble. I think I'm just like trying to gather my words right now. But like what I got from that is like, from then on, that quote kind of just like stuck in my head, and I was like saying like, what does this actually mean? And so what I was trying to like, when I was trying to process like, you know, what that meant, and that I was trying to process it through by doing it. So for me, what that translated to me in my daily life is like, you know, I have to carry Swami with me at all times, have his values that I've learned all throughout SSC with me, like think of him at all times while doing what I do in the day. You know, obviously like our lives can't come to like a stop, our secular lives, like otherwise we're not going to be doing anything in this world, right? But I think like when I heard that, that's when I really started taking his values and his teachings that I've learned all these years and actually putting them into practice on my own, and like seeing that transition from just kind of living my daily life with like basic like normal morals that people have, to like elevating it to a new level, like seeing him in like everything that I do, seeing him in like the, and like being, having him in my heart when I am like, you know, taking a test or even talking to my friends, you know, like I try to like talk out of like respect and love with my friends, even if like, I was going through like a fight with them, like, and I barely ever did, because like, I had like swamis, and I don't mean to like brag or anything, like this is not like what that is. I'm just trying to like say like what
Yeah,
I
yeah,
went
yeah, I
through.
understand. I completely
Yeah.
understand.
But like I think that's when I really started having his values in my daily life. And I think that carried on through the rest of high school. And then um like COVID hit, like when I was like closer to like 12th grade. And I think from then on, I think my faith in Swami had like declined a little bit, because some like personal things happened in my life, and I was like, oh, like what is this? Like I thought Swami was always there for me. And obviously I think at that age it's a little bit difficult to understand, like, like that what like Swami's actually always there for you. You just have to do your part, and like he will just take care of the rest. Like if you don't have any control over a situation, like that's not on you. But I think like at that age I was struggling to realize that, and also not like being at home all the time, and not going to center every week, because that was like my weekly recharge. That really took a toll on my mental health. And I think I detached from like all like
Definitely.
communication with like not only like my friends, but also like I like stopped communicating that like a lot to my family as well. I had like kind of like put myself in a little hole. And I think along with my friends and family, I had like stopped communicating as much with Swami as well, like just kind of like secluding myself from everyone else during that time. And I think a little bit of that carried on into college as well, because I like forgot how I communicated with my friends, family, and Swami, like because I had done it for so long during COVID. So, and I think like now, just like actually this past like school year, and even more so even this summer, I'm like actually starting to get back into like what my old like view and my old relationship was with Swami, and it's still a struggle. It's not to where I was before, where I was like really having a lot of immense blind faith in him, and like taking him like where like in everything that I do. I still struggle with that now, because I'm still trying to get out of that bad like old habit of like not communicating with him, not having him with me at all times. And obviously that's a very difficult thing to do. It's not easy, but I think like um being in college, I think I've realized how much I actually need him in my life. Otherwise I will literally go insane, like mentally insane, because there's so many things that you're faced with in college that you've never thought you'd face in your life. Like you think like when you're in high school, you think that college is like, oh, like I get to go to classes on my own schedule, I get to do like real things that I like to do. But then you don't realize there's so many other aspects of college life, like being faced with like things that may not be what you've grown up with, and like hard college classes you're struggling with, and you're like crying every night, like, oh my god, why did I take this class, like so I don't know if you can hear my dog. He's kind of like
No,
coughing right now.
you're
I
fine.
apologize
You're fine.
if you
You're
can
fine.
hear that.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so like in college I definitely realized that I need to build my relationship back with him. Otherwise I don't know like what else will happen in my life. It can be like pretty dangerous. And so um I think especially being at home, like for the summer, I've been able to go to center weekly, and I think that's really helped. Like I know people are just like, oh, you go to center and then go back. Like no, like for me, that's like more than just than that. Like I when I go there, I feel energized. I feel energized for the week. I feel closer to Swami, because like we're doing like this like devotional service to him, and like bhajans really help me because I sing, and so when I sing to him and I sing bhajans to him, I feel very connected with him. And so and it's hard to do that in college, because one, like I don't have a car where I go to college, so it's hard to travel and go there. And two, the communication was a little bit difficult where I'm going to college right now. So it's like I'm not sure if it's like online or in person or anything like that, right? Like there's not been some real communication about like where the centers are and like what is happening right now.
Mhm.
So it's been a little bit difficult for me to actually do that in college. But I think like the one, and I apologize if I'm going back and forth right now. Like,
You're fine. You're fine. You're actually very. You're actually describing it in a way that most YAs would fit in. At least the younger YAs would fit in, right? I mean, the kind of
okay.
toll that they take, etc. So please go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. I don't mean to like go back and
No,
forth.
no,
I'm
you're
like,
fine. You're fine.
yeah, okay.
You're
So
actually pretty cogent, Samiksha. Don't worry. You're
okay.
actually pretty cogent. Don't
Okay,
worry at all.
okay, good to know, good to know. Yeah, so in college, like I mentioned, it's hard to go to center for me, and like even finding that motivation to go to center, because like you're working the entire week, and like you're like kind of like drained from like school and like social activities every night, like get like waking up at like 6 a.m. and like not coming back to your apartment till like 10 p.m. Like it's draining, so then like by the time the weekend comes, all you want to do is just like sleep. Like, so it's like hard to find that like motivation to even like try to find a center near you and like try to find some way to get there. I think I've also really struggled with that because like it's one, I don't have the resources, and two, it's like I don't have the motivation at that time. But I think like one thing that I've told myself after coming home and going to center every week with my mom and my sister is like I need to actually make that effort to go to center every Sunday, find someone who I can go with, like find out what is happening with the center. And luckily, like Shriyamanna, like he asked me to like be a part of this project where we're doing like a transition from like group 4 to YAs. And I met someone in there who was able to put me in contact with a lot of YAs in that region where I'm going to college right now. So I've like reached out to them, and like, they're like happy to like, talk to me and like help me figure out what I want to do this semester in terms of my spiritual journey and like going to center with Swami. So I'm actually very excited for that, and I'm really excited to like rebuild my relationship with him and like make it more strong than before, and like in a different way too, because college is not the same as high school. My level of thinking is not the same as high school. Like what I think nowadays and what I'm doing nowadays is not the same as high school. It's like it's definitely more challenging to figure out like and navigate like how to implement his teachings and the teachings that I've learned all through these years, like in the daily things that I'm doing. And even like, when I'm like hanging out with my friends, because you'll meet a lot of different people in college. And like, I've met so many people who I didn't even think I would meet. Like I met like people who are like really, really different from me and like don't have the same values at all. And I'm like, I do not vibe with you at all right now. Like, I don't know what's going on. So like, how do I like make this a relationship where it's like, I can talk to you, but also like not change my own values. So I think that I'm still navigating that. And I'm like, I don't think I'm even at a point where I've like made a lot of progress. Like, I think I've made like 1% progress of like navigating like my spiritual journey in college. So I think that was a very long-winded answer to say like my journey with Swami and like his like presence in my life has been like not a straight line. It's literally been like not even a zigzag line. It's like a swirly at this point. Like it's really crazy. And I don't think like that's a bad thing necessarily, because I think like as long as I'm trying to make an effort and like I'm trying to actually put in that effort to, have my relationship with Swami, and like sometimes it may not be as strong as it, was before in high school. I think like that is satisfactory to me. It might not be satisfactory to others or like someone else, but like I don't have to worry about that. I have to only worry about myself, because at the end of the day, what is worrying about what someone else thinks of me like gonna get me? That's not gonna get me anywhere. So I'm like I'm pretty proud of where I've gone with my journey, even if it may not be like where I want to be at the moment. Yeah, that's a very long answer, but
I think you kind of got the flow to a very interesting way of saying how that toll goes through for several YAs, especially for the YAs who just come from the SSC and kind of onboard that YA journey, right? So many of them kind of when they actually go to the college, they necessarily don't go to the college in their same hometown. They probably go far, and probably they don't find centers there. Probably you're little lucky there in terms of finding a center closer to you, or staying in the same place where your parents are, so that you can get connected to the same center, etc. But there are people even who go to much higher level than
I think
I mean,
Yeah, I actually like don't go to like I'm not anywhere close to like where my parents are. Like I'm like
Oh,
halfway
okay.
across the country
Wow. Okay.
for
Okay.
college.
I thought you're pretty close because I thought you said you're able to go every week with your sister. And
That's
so,
when I came home for the summer. So I'm like
oh,
home
okay.
in Texas.
Okay.
But
Okay.
like
Okay.
I go to school in California. So
Okay.
like there I just don't like it's hard for me to like go.
Okay. I see. I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just like what Swami says, when you take one step towards him, he takes 100 steps towards you,
Yeah.
right? The each and every effort that we make probably does not make sense at that point of time in terms of what we are doing, why we are doing. Is it something that's going to benefit me in this term or long term, etc. But if like what you just said, the long term values that imbibes in a person when you get connected with Swami in whatever ways, it could be going to center, it could be getting him more personally inside, following his value system, and the value education that you probably got all along, etc. So that kind of makes a larger difference. And
Mhm.
over a period of time, you certainly realize that it's Swami who has played that entire journey all through. And probably the COVID, just like what you pointed out, right? Like COVID definitely hit a lot of people pretty hard. I know at least a couple of people who came to the same my side, and I kind of said how the COVID kind of transpired their way of looking into Swami, how they got connected to bhajans during COVID, kind of listening into bhajans, talking to Swami in terms of communicating with him in terms of singing a bhajan more internally versus forming a peer group with the same kind of age group people and singing a bhajan, etc. So there are several things that I know internally most of us did to kind of connect back to Swami. Probably the value system kind of got into our into bloodstream
Mhm.
more in a subtle way that you don't even realize that it's probably in there, but it kind of pushes you harder and gets you back to the same stream that you need to be in, right? I mean, eventually it gets you to the path, and that's exactly where the SSE and the SSE journey helps a lot of kids pass the SSE age when they actually grew up. I myself they don't call it SSE back in India. They call it Balvikas, but I myself a Balvika student as well. So I know how much it has helped me in terms of navigating that journey with Swami until this point, and I certainly realize that it helped you as well. And it was really nice to hear from you, Samiksha. Thank you.
I
Uh,
think oh sorry, go
yeah,
ahead.
go ahead, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I think I think like it's really, really interesting to see everyone's journeys being so different from one another. Cause I see like my batchmates in SSC, like I see their journey with Swami now when we're in college. And then I see like my mom's journey too. I'm like that's so different from like mine. Like
Oh
each
yeah,
person has their own unique journey. And I don't think it's like, right to like base your journey off of like others and saying like, oh, this person's over there, like I should be there right now. Like no, like
yeah,
it's
yeah.
not going to be the same for anyone under the sun, so I think like it's really interesting to see how everyone navigates and like seeing like different like ways that Swami is involved in their life.
Yeah, certainly, yeah. And thank you for sharing your experiences, Samisha.
Thank you so much for having
Um,
me.
Yeah, so let's go to the next person. Vaibhav, Sairam's brother, if you're there, you can turn
Yeah.
on video.
Yes. Yeah. Sorry, Sairam, brother.
Oh,
How are you
Sairam,
doing? Yeah.
how are you? Thank you.
I'm fine. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Sairam, Vaibhav, if you can introduce yourself, give a brief about how you got connected with Swami and what you are doing currently to kind of introduce yourself to the wider audience will be helpful. Sairam.
Yep. Yeah. I've recently started my full time here in Pennsylvania, and I've last couple of months before I graduated in from University of Houston in industrial engineering, and prior to that, I studied and like I was like brought up in Abu Dhabi, and that's where I kind of got introduced to Swami and the Balvikas, and then the Akanda Bhajan, and then Narayan Seva and all of that. And then I studied in India. I did my bachelor's in India, and yeah. So right from childhood, I've started like since I've started going to Balvikas, and since my parents and my grandparents were also a part of Swami's fold, so since from their childhood. And my dad also like used to like when Swami used to come to, my dad was like brought up in Bangalore. So whenever Swami used to come to Whitefield, my dad used to like run with all his friends and all to kind of get a, will they get an opportunity to see Swami, and they would like want to play tabla there and all of that. So that's how people were so much like my parents were so much devoted to Swami then. And that's how I also got an inspiration. And like, and so since during my but during the time when I started like going to Bal Vikas and all of that, I mean, I didn't understand why am I going to that, and what's the reason behind all of that and the stuff. So, but then with a lot of things that were kind of happening, like a lot of changes that I could see within myself, like during my childhood and during the time that I did my masters, and during that time I did my bachelor's degree and all of that. So that's when I realized that definitely Swami is within us, and with me as well. So I could even say an example. Uh, there's a temple called Tiruchendur Murugar in India. It sits in southern Tamil Nadu. So there, like me and my parents and myself and my uncle and aunt and all of us, uh, we were kind of singing a lot of Sai bhajans in the Murugar temple. And but I was kind of a little bit I was thinking like, okay, we are in a Murugar temple, and we are in this in a big huge temple, and we're singing Sai bhajans. And I was thinking in my mind that maybe few people may not like the bhajans, or maybe since we are singing Sai bhajans and all of that. But then after going to the railway station, we after the temple after visiting the temple, we went to the railway station. And then in the railway station, my dad and myself, we went and got some few vadas and bhajis and all of that. And to my surprise, I found Swami's photo in the newspaper that was having the vadas and bhajis. And then I told, it was written in Tamil. So then I told my dad to read what was there in Tamil. So my dad read that it told that all the gurus are one, and all comes into one God and all of that. So and so that kind of gave me an answer of why, like what I was thinking in the temple, and what answer had Swami given. So that was like, so that newspaper article, we have like kind of framed it, and we have kept it in our puja room also as well now, currently in Abu Dhabi. Yeah. And then uh, even like, so during my time at bachelor's degree, I wasn't kind of doing pretty well during my initial time of my bachelor's degree, because I had taken a bachelor's in mechanical engineering. So I found it a lot difficult, and my grades were kind of dropping down and all of that stuff. So uh, uh, so that's when it had been a long time since I had been to bhajans, and since I had been to a lot of seva activities and all of that stuff. So I kind of wanted to understand what is the reason behind my like my grades going down and all of that, and I wanted to correct those kind of measures. And then I even kind of started going regularly to bhajans. And then I felt that a part of myself was kind of missing and all of that. So that's the reason that I started going to bhajans. And I definitely knew that there is a reason why am I going to the bhajans, and why I want to be in those kind of activities and all of that. And then to my surprise, even the Sai Samiti in Velur, where I had done my bachelor's degree there, I got a chance to even do a lot of seva activities in the Tirunamalai temple, which is a big Shivan temple back in Tamil Nadu, where a lot of people, they go into it. So it's like basically a hill where a lot of people kind of walk around the temple. And so since it's a very hilly kind of region, so the people that after walking, they come down the hill, and then we'll have to kind of massage their feet and all of that. So this was a kind of seva that they had been doing there. So I got an opportunity to do that, and I found a lot of difference within myself after doing that kind of activity. And then even during so since I was brought up in Abu Dhabi, a lot of time during the Ramadan and Eid the festival, a lot of activities we used to go there and do a lot of the Laban Seva and the so basically the yogurt Seva. So we kind of go to a lot of labor camps and kind of distribute a lot of food there. So kind of getting into those activities and seeing a great change within myself. And that's when I really saw like when Swami used to tell love all, serve all, help ever, hurt never. So I used to always think like, are these kind of really kind of applicable, or are people really doing something like these in real life? So after I started doing that, and after I saw that, I saw not only myself, like even the Sai Samiti that has been there. After seeing a lot of those kind of impact, that's when I saw how what Swami said a long time ago. I'm seeing those kind of activities still being applicable here. And even during my time, once I got my admit for my master's degree from Houston, so the first thing I wanted to do is I wanted to find out a Samiti in Houston. So because that's when I wanted to really be part of a Samiti, and kind of participate in bhajans, Vedam, and to my surprise, I just spoke to the Houston Sai president, Brother Ram Prasad, and then um, I just told him that, okay, I'll be coming here, and I'll be arriving in Houston within a couple of weeks and all of that. And then the moment I arrived, he kind of arranged, he spoke to a lot of other YAs and a lot of other people in and around the Houston community, and they arranged us the bed, they arranged us the microwave. And we didn't even expect that. And because since we did not have a car, and we did not know anything about Houston or its transportation, they had taken us to the groceries. They had given us so much of immense love that I don't know, even I don't have really any words to thank the people that they have helped us. And in a lot of ways, like by keeping me comfortable. And I never got a sense of homesickness after being a part of the Houston Sai Samiti. And even after going into the YA retreat program in Austin, I got a really great chance to kind of talk to a lot of amazing people in and around Austin. And that's where I kind of got the sense of how a lot of people in the US are carrying around Swami's teachings and activities in a variety of different forms, by doing sevas, or by educating a lot of young children, and by talking a lot and teaching a lot of different students, and doing a lot of seva activities, doing a lot of tornado, and a lot of mishaps happen. So kind of doing a lot of volunteering and all of that stuff. So kind of that kind of sevas. And the one really important thing that I learned from a lot of the brothers and sisters from the seva activities that I've been a part of, and the so it's how important is for the people to give back to the society. And so that is one important aspect that I see of people imparting Swami's teaching. Like, be it maybe helping a person who's new to the US, or helping someone who's in real desire of need of some particular logistical move, or something of that sort. So and no one expects anything in return. So that's the amount of love that I've kind of experienced being a part here. And one thing definitely is that I've done a couple of internships and here during my full time as well. Uh, so the one thing I always look forward is whenever I go or relocate to a new city or new state, definitely I would want to be a part of the Samiti. So by Swami's grace, I've always got a chance to be a part of the Samiti of wherever place I get into. And the first person I always ask is Brother Sriram from Austin. So I always like message him and ask him, like, do you know any person in this center, or do you know any person in this place, and all of that. And definitely, people are so loving. And I'm really I never expected that a lot of YAs and a lot of people in the US would be so helping and so imparting Swami's teaching in a lot of variety of different ways. So that kind of thing has always really inspired me, and even that kind of inspiration has always told me to also give back to the society in whatever way possible, and to carry Swami's teaching in any way possible. I think
I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
yes, yeah.
Yeah. So that kind of gives a perspective of someone who is grown up in a different place and kind of moved over with a background of being a Swami devotee from a Sai family.
Yes, yeah.
Certainly, how SSC kind of shaped up for you to kind of get through there, right?
Yep.
I'm more curious to know what I mean when you think that your journey is pushing you towards going to a center in a specific location. What is that push really? Where is that push really coming from? What is that really making you to feel connected with Swami in that sense? Like, there should be something in yourself that kind of gets that connect with Swami, right? What do you feel as that most important thing that you think as one thing that helps you to kind of go back each time and get connected with Swami center or with Swami's activities?
I mean, definitely being part of the bhajans, and I mean, I really enjoy all kind of bhajans of Sai bhajans. So I mean, that's one aspect as well, and then the Vedam chanting and that aspect as well, and definitely being a part of the Sai community. I mean, it helps me grow as an individual, and in terms of maybe even technically, or even emotionally, and then learning about that particular place, or learning about different aspects of life. So because I mean, I've seen a variety of different people in Sai group, like, yeah, right from youngsters and right from a lot of experienced people. So I mean, talking to them about different aspects, and how, and understanding and seeing of how they kind of moved into their life, and what kind of challenges they faced, and that kind of overall kind of learning experience from a different, I mean, in different places, and being a part of that Sai community, and holding on to the different learning experiences. And I mean, I've heard a lot of amazing stories of how people have gone through a lot of different challenges in the US, like be it any visa issues for any international student, or be it a lot of different issues that I've heard, and how how a lot of people have overcome that obstacle by not overthinking of it, of in a too much in a I mean, not putting a lot of stress into that, and kind of looking into each and everything into. So I mean, so I've even applied a lot of the Sai principles and a lot of learnings in what I've learned from different samitis and different places in my workplace, and in my internships, or in my full time as well. So that kind of overall leadership kind of experiences, and even a lot of leadership workshops that SSC, I mean, the YA group conducts, and all of that. I mean, I've been like watching all of that closely, right? So that kind of overall learning curve, and basically, I mean, I kind of get that adrenaline rush, or that positive kind of energy when I find out that, okay, someone is a part of the Sai group here, or so I kind of kind of get that family kind of feeling when, if I hear that someone is a part of the Sai bhajan. And another important aspect is, I mean, I've been even participating in a lot of the Radha Kalyanams and Sita Kalyanams, and all of the different gurus like Ramana Maharishi, or Mahaperiva, or Shingeri, and all of those gurus. And one important learning I've seen is that ultimately all of them are Sai devotees. So if I go to any like, I would go into someone who's doing an Anusham Puja. So Anusham Puja is basically done for Mahapariva. So I would go there and see they would have had like 4 or 5 different Swami photos with Vibhuti falling in their house. I wouldn't had any a single guess that they would be Swami's devotee. But when I go to their house and see that they'll have all the gurus and all of that, so that kind of teaching is always, as Swami has always said, that all gurus are one. And I mean, even in Swami's bhajan and all of that, he sings about different gurus and how they have contributed into the positive society. I mean, how positive they have contributed to different aspects of life and all of that. So that kind of, I mean, I used to like bhajans like Aruna Ramana and all of that. So I used to like just sing all of those songs, but like seeing how those kind of songs are applied in real life situations and in different houses and all of those kind of things. So ultimately, I mean, I've seen a lot of people whom I never guessed that they would be Swami devotees are Swami devotees in a lot of different aspects. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, so to kind of summarize, Sai centers or Sai groups are just not a support system. They are probably more of a holistic approach of or kind of holistic guide for the entire life itself, primarily
Yep.
because the way the imbibed principles of how Swami is teaching and what Swami is saying about is kind of shaping up each and every person life who gets into that system or gets into that
Yes.
support system
Yep.
throughout his life, wherever, whether it's part of his career, part of his personal life, or part of his spiritual journey. All of that kind of gets inspired by the teachings of Swami, and when you actually closely start following some of that as a YA. Now, you being as a YA who probably you just described about the early childhood experience that you had, where Swami answered your question right there
Yes. Yes. Yes.
when he was probably not even there. So, did you happen to really understand back then really about what that experience was, or is it Swami really talking to you? Or you mentioned that you still have the newspaper that you still
Yes.
have and
Yes.
kind of
Yes.
framed it and everything. So
Yep.
I'm curious to know what was that kind of experience during that point of time? Did it really bring about? Is that probably a first experience for you that kind of brought about a change that, hey, Swami is listening to me, or he's kind of answering to my prayers, or he's kind of answering to my questions more internally than just being an external form, looking at a photograph or kind of going back to him and talking to him, etc. Right? Many people would have had conversations with Swami either in person, and a lot of us, at least the present generation YAs, probably don't have that opportunity to go and
Mhm.
talk to him in person or being in a physical form. So kind of putting him as my Sai, the theme that we are talking about, right? How Swami became that personal kind of a chat GPT that answers every question that you have more internally, right? How does that brought about a change in your life? Is that really the first experience that brought about a change for you, or is it anything that's different?
I mean, yeah, definitely. That's like, I mean, that happened like probably when I was like in second grade or third grade or like maybe first grade. So, I mean, that's the time when I was introduced to Balvikas and Balvikas and even Akanda Bhajans and even I mean, I had like a lot of people who are my age and all of that. So basically, I used to just go for those bhajan practice just to play with other people and play with other children and all of that. So I mean, so basically in Abu Dhabi, where I kind of grew up, so basically every Thursday they have a bhajan, and every Wednesday there's a practice, an in-person kind of practice. So since Abu Dhabi is like it's just a place of 10 streets, 10, 15 streets. So uh, so uh, I used to, I mean, all the time my mother used to play Sundaram bhajans in my house and do with the taper cord and all of that. So I mean, YouTube wasn't that in that time. So I mean, in some way or the other, whether when I was sleeping or while I was playing or something, some form of bhajan was kind of entering into my ear and all of that. So some way or the other, I mean, I was kind of inclined, or I was yeah, I was hearing Swami's voice somewhere or the other through different kind of sources. But then uh, and even I since I was a young child, I mean, I didn't know what was God, and I mean, I had a lot of questions, but I mean, I didn't bother to ask a lot of people and all of that. I mean, I knew he was definitely a powerful person, and so that kind of gave me a kind of a reality check of who Swami is, with after reading that, after getting that newspaper article. And definitely, as you said, that's one of the crux of me kind of getting to understand Swami in a better way, of him kind of listening to what I'm kind of praying, or what I'm thinking. And that's when I kind of even realized that whatever I think, or whatever even I do, Swami knows that he's kind of looking out for me, or looking into my perspective, and that. So uh, that kind of gave me an introduction of, and the belief towards Swami and his teaching, and how he's not just an external human being, or not just another person, and how he listens to us, and what we kind of want to think. Or yeah, as you said, he's like the machine learning or AI, who kind of foresees and into how am I going to do into the future. And yeah, even I could even say a recent example. So uh, uh, I mean, in the past year or so, when I was like applying for a lot of internships and well, so I used to kind of put a lot of pressure into myself, and kind of like, will I get a job, or will I be unemployed, and all of that. But then this time, although I graduated in May, and I didn't have a job even until June. So even after graduation, I didn't have a job until June. So and since I'm an international student, I have a limited number of days and all those kind of issues. So then there was some kind of voice that was kind of like telling me, so I used to get tensed for a lot of even small internships and all of that. But even though for a full time I didn't land up a job, I kind of had a voice within myself that was telling me, okay, you'll get a job, you'll get a really good job which sponsors the H1B visa sooner, so you don't need to worry. So I used to get that kind of voice uh, within myself, like every day or so, or every interview that I was kind of attending. So I definitely take it as a kind of voice of Swami, and all the gurus as well. So I mean, definitely all the gurus and Swami also as well. That kind of motivation, and that self motivation, and like, okay, I'll definitely land up in a really good job, and that I can settle well. That kind of self motivation and all of that is definitely, I would say, Swami's teaching, and that inner voice has always been Swami. Yes.
Great. It was really great listening to you, brother. If
Yeah.
anyone has any questions, please do post, or please unmute yourself and kind of ask the speaker at any point of time. You can call out the speaker. The speakers are always there. Samiksha is here too, and I see Brother Vaibhav is here too. So um, please unmute and ask any questions if anybody wants to actually ask anything of the sort. Really, I know. So,
Hey,
before,
Saram.
yes, I know.
Hey, Saram. Um, Vaibhav, and thanks, Samiksha. I think both your stories are, to me, interesting and in a weird way interrelated. Because one, Samiksha's story of being very connected to Bhagwan from a very young age, being born into Swami's fold, and similarly, you too, Brother Vaibhav, that you too had this from a very young age. You've had this connection with Bhagwan, and been in the Sai fold, right? When you're like Prasanna said about that 7-year-old you framing, that newspaper article. From there on, your journeys, both of you similarly were going to samitis or centers just because parents were asking you, not really knowing why exactly you guys were going, but going along, going with the flow, as they say, or being forced upon. You go off into college and you struggle. Similarly, Samiksha is in college and is, like she mentioned, struggling in one sense of the term. Then what happens is, very interestingly, Vaibhav, I've not heard of anybody else. I've attended every my Sai and I session, but I've not heard of anyone talk about a literal Padasevam Seva. And you said that created a change in you. I wanted to understand what change that created, because I've not known of anyone pressing someone's feet as a literal seva. And it seems like that was a significant incident, because you said it had a huge impact on you. Can you explain to me what did it do to you?
I mean, even that was something new for me, because I haven't heard. I mean, like prior to that, I haven't heard people doing Pada Seva and all of that. So yeah, so when I just attended the Samiti at Velur. That was my first day, in fact. So I just been on my first day, and then they were like, okay, we need a lot of volunteers for the Pada Seva that's happening in Tirunamalai. And that was on a Pradosham as well. So since that was happening and all of that, so I was like definitely really pumped up because it's a really great seva and all of that. And then after going there, I mean, when a lot of people were doing seva and the Pada Seva and all of that, that kind of thought gave me a huge life lesson of humility and humbleness in that particular aspect. And it also gave me a way of thinking of to kind of understand and see and look into how how difficult it is, like, for people to kind of do that. I mean, walk and help them out in this particular format, because that way of doing that Pada Seva for them kind of gave them a lot of relief, and a lot of old people and a lot of I mean, even a lot of young people as well, like going into that rocky hills and all of that. So giving that Pada Seva to them kind of gave them a lot of relief, and uh, that kind of I mean, I don't know how to frame it, but that that gave me a really great internal positive change as to these are the different kind of sevas probably that maybe I can kind of implement it in a lot of different other countries, or in another different places, where, because even since I haven't heard about this kind of seva that had been done before, so that kind of seva of whoever, I mean, it gave me a life lesson of whoever you are. You may be in a top position, or even, you know, this thing, and even I mean, it doesn't matter whoever you are in whatever aspect you are, but that kind of humbleness and that humility of I mean, uh, uh, kind of that
Sorry to cut you off.
kind.
Is it really the surrender of ego from that perspective? Meaning,
Exactly. Yes,
so,
that's
so
what I kind of
Swami
meant.
kind of
Yes,
relates the Padasevanam aspect to surrendering of one's ego to
exactly.
to the divine being, right? So
Yes,
the prostration that you do, or the Padasevanam that you do, necessarily may not be physically for somebody who is Swami, or physically may not be your own guru.
yeah.
But when you do it to your elders, it typically it resonates that you are surrendering yourself into that person, meaning your ego is getting cut off. So is that something that you're trying to I mean,
Yes,
just
yes. Yeah, you
okay,
hit the bullet there. So
okay.
yeah, so that's what I wanted to exactly say. I mean, that surrendering of, I mean, how much of a big person you may be and all of that. So that kind of yeah, surrendering of the ego, and thinking, I mean, not carrying a lot of things on our shoulder and all of that. That kind of I mean, opened my brain into a lot of different avenues of how life is, and how Swami has thought to approach life in a lot of very simple. So Swami's teachings are very simple, and it's nothing like a snake or ladder game. So it's basically just a very simple, straightforward life lesson. So that kind of gave me a really great introspective into how to kind of approach life in a very simple and in a, yeah. So
Yeah, and I just wanted to, again, draw the parallels between the journey. So here you are, you struggle in college, she struggles in college. You have this very interesting seva and pada seva and opportunities that you get into. And then post that, you start to in one sense, when you move abroad or you move elsewhere, you have somehow made that first step of being connected or reaching out. See, that's what, one of the brothers was saying, and Samiksha, maybe there's some interesting lessons for all of us here, right? Especially even I can so relate to you, Samiksha, because I've also moved away in one sense after Balvikas and stuff of that sort. And, I've also had my phase of just being shrouded in the dark from Swami per se. Let me put it that way. And I think one thing that, Vaibhav's journey also reminds me of a brother saying, it's very important that we learn how to add Swami into our daily life. Swami never distances himself from us. We distance ourselves from Swami, or we don't know how to create that connect with Swami. So even if you're far away, like you said, without the means of transportation, and I think something very similar is for Vaibhav when he came over or when he's moved abroad, transportation has been an issue. But one thing that it made me also realize is I hadn't proactively made a way to add Swami into my life and establish that connect. If I had taken that step of having that way of adding Swami, needn't have spent as much time. Luckily, you unlike me have come back much quicker. At least had this, the summertime wherein you've been able to reconnect in some sense and kind of kickstart that journey. But important thing is to add Swami. And the second thing is to allow Swami to infiltrate your life. And I think that's something Brother Vaibhav has unknowingly done by always being a part of Sai activities. He will be after you to get him to Sai centers, be after you to be a part of YA activities. He allows Swami to walk in. And that's something when I think back, did I allow Swami? Did I add Swami first of all, which I oftentimes didn't? And then did I allow Swami? Adding Swami is one thing. I can do it even mechanically, say Swami, but to truly allow him to infiltrate my life. And that's something in college is especially hard and so many distractions. But can we somehow allow him to be a part of our day? It's something just some food for thought, because the adding and allowing allows to achieve him. And I think that's something, I think Vaibhav, in one sense, he'll be honest enough to admit he's not the finished article by any means, like none of us are. But I think it gives us some very interesting perspectives that adding and allowing Swami is so important to living a life of achieving Swami, and wherein our lives is his message. Just wanted to leave you with that as well. I know we're at probably time. I want to let Prasanna take it forward. Thank you much.
Yeah, brother, I just had one thought, as you were talking, that I wanted to say real quick, if I can. I know we're over time. Is that okay?
Sure.
Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Yeah. On the subject of, and just as you said, it's about allowing Swami. And sometimes in one's life, it comes to the point of, can you hold on to Swami? Because Swami will always hold. It's like, I think he used the metaphor, right? Like it's like I'm holding a kite. I will let the kite go as far as it can go, as high and far away as it can go. But ultimately, it will have to come back to me, right? So then it's a question, if one holds on to Swami, when one feels like, one is letting go, or Swami's, or sometimes one even thinks Swami is letting go, but if one holds on to Swami, then one's journey becomes much, much easier and much smoother. And on the subject of Pada Seva, Swami has said, when he was asked, like, why, once he asked, why do you think I let you all, do Pada Seva? So everybody said it's because you're tired, you walk so much. It's because to let go of our ego. It's for humility. He said none of the above. He said it's so you can walk in my footsteps. So you can walk the way I walk. And personally, I've felt that when one touches someone's feet, and when one does Pada Seva, no matter who that is, it could be a relative, it could be anybody, right? And Swami has guided me on some very rare, unusual occasions to do this, personally, with my mother-in-law and so on and so forth. One feels a huge burden kind of being lifted off from one's chest. And one can literally feel what Brother Vaibhav was describing is kind of this surrender, and this release. And it's a real thing. I mean, it's a very physical sensation, that you feel that your heart is getting lighter. So that humility and love that Swami keeps talking about, I think that is the pinnacle of it, no matter who it is. But beautiful, moving and very beautiful talks, both Samiksha's and yours, brother. So thank you.
Thank you, sister, because both of them kept it very real, very grounded in reality,
Yes.
very relatable.
Yes.
And I think you reminded me of something. You talked about Pada Sevana, and I think what it also does, it again reminds me, very interestingly, when you do Pada Seva, it's one of those times when you bend over, and your heart is above your head. In one sense, the heart rules over the head, and
That's
then
right.
when you bend over, your chest area is higher than where your head is. So oftentimes when we're upright, our head stands above our heart. But Pada Sevana is one of the times when the heart stands almost above the head. That was something that you reminded me of so beautifully as well. Thank you so much.
That's right. And on a more emotional note, Swami has also said, it seems one time he didn't, he said he was not going to give darshan, at some point. And then everyone said, and then Brother Satyajit said, why not? Why not? Everybody's waiting, Swami. Everybody's waiting. And then he said, these feet have traveled to many villages. They walked many miles or something like that. They walked many. So if you think of it's very poignant, right? Swami saying, that I'm tired, So ever since hearing that, I feel like doing Pada Seva is, it's like touching Swami's feet and it's easing Swami's feet, Jesus also, he washed the feet of lepers, right? He washed the feet of lepers with water. So it's a very symbolic and very, very purifying and absolving and very gratifying ritual, I think. Sairam.
Sister. Thank you. Yeah. Anyone else who wants to chime in here and ask some questions or put their thoughts in, please do so. Okay. We are actually at time, but I think Brother Prashant, I just want to ask you, how long do you think you will be able to take? Because I think more we certainly can have you for the next session as well, if you think your journey is going to take much longer to describe, because we don't want to again pressurize you to kind of pull over everything right here during just jammed up just 10 minutes or 15 minutes here, right? If you feel you need a little bit more time that we can all enjoy your experiences with, please do let us know. We can certainly put you through the next Maisa and I journey. Brother.
Yeah, sure, brother. I think I might take 15 minutes. If we have time, I can continue, or else I can join next time.
I think with some questions coming in, it's probably going to be much longer than the 15 minutes for sure. At least I would personally ask, and I would like to enjoy someone's journey more closely. Is it okay if I put you for the next slot, for the next Maisa slot in August?
Yeah, sure, brother.
Okay,
Okay.
That'll be great, because we certainly want to actually enjoy everyone's journey more thoroughly, and if allowing its own time to actually cherish everyone's journey as well, right? So we'll do that. I think Prashant will have you for the August, and thank you everyone for attending here, right? I mean, this Maisa experience is more. It's just immersing in his love, understanding how Swami has entered each and every person's life here. Each and every journey is different. Each and every way that Swami enters a person's life is different. How he sustains and how he makes you hold on to himself is very different, right? Like what Brother Sriram said, how the steps we take versus the steps that he has taken towards us are very different. He is always with us when we try to distance from him at certain point, but go and cling back to him, and he always kind of allows us to go and cling back to him at any point, right? He always he is with double hands, always welcoming you at any point when you just approach him with unconditional love. And that's exactly what I think he expects us to do, even when he says, "Your life is my message." And I just want to quote this because the YA retreat that's coming up for the 29th and 30th of July in Austin is going to be of the same theme. It's about traveling with Swami. It's about how we shape up our journey with Swami, right? When Swami says, "Your life is my message," we certainly want to shape it up to the extent possible in which we can say it's our life which tells what Swami is, or it's our own journey that describes how Swami's journey is, right? So with that, I welcome everyone here to enjoy the upcoming series of Maisa and I as well. And thank you everyone for joining. Thanks to Swami for letting us all dive in more closely to him as well. Sriram, you want to add any thoughts here? Please.
No. I mean, first of all, I also want to thank brother Prashant, for being so gracious, for, agreeing to do it the next time around. Really grateful, brother. And also, thank you so much to the likes of Samiksha, right? It's very, I enjoy people who come out here and say, I've struggled and I'm struggling. Yeah. Because vulnerability and openness and honesty is a great strength. And like she said, it's compare your journey with anyone. And I love young adults who come out here and keep it real on my side. They don't talk about the hunky-dory portion of it, where they saw miracles and making a presence, but they also talk about the lack of presence, which we all feel at different points in time. And that is the most important, right? And I'm so grateful to people like her. And YA's keep it real. And she's the epitome of that today as well. So thank you so much, Samiksha. Really means a lot to me.
I thank you for having me. Like, I think I'm like very lucky to be one of those people who is able to talk about my experience, but I think there's also a lot more people like me who are willing to keep it real. And I want to be one of those people who can help others keep it real too.
Thank you so much. You certainly did. And thank you, Vaibhav, as well, man. Again, I've had the great opportunity of knowing you and interacting with you. And I think just the amount of enthusiasm and eagerness and the earnestness that you show of wanting to have Swami and be a part of Swami's fold is again inspiring. No matter where you go, you're proactive. And that's something I'll take away, that I always got to be proactive in reaching out, in ensuring that I add him into my life and allow him to, become the dal that Samiksha was talking about, instead of thinking that he should be the salt. So that was a beautiful analogy, Samiksha. And on that note, I think we can call it a day. So
Let's end it with one Om and three Shantis. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you everyone. Thanks, Swami.